Mr. President, probably you remember last year at the World Economic Forum, right there, Chinese President Xi Jinping was delivering his speech, talking about his version of globalization, very much supporting the international system. And this year we have many leaders coming from developed and emerging economies alike, including President Trump as well. I just wonder, what are the expectations for you as someone coming from Latin America to expect from these two leadership? One in China, whom you have already interacted with, and also the United States.
I feel that it's very important events like Davos that bring leaders together so they can find solutions to the problem that affect the people. The conflict in Syria, the conflict in the Middle East, in Iraq, Afghanistan. It's better to have just one view from the different important world leaders like President Xi Jinping, President Trump, President Putin, so they can work together for peace. So it's very important. These events are very important because at the end, politics is about improving the quality of life of human beings.
I heard this is the first event of the day for you.
Yes, I just came back from a visit, official visit to the Netherlands. So
okay, I'm honored, Mr.
Today.
President.
Thank you.
Let's start from also your trip to China. It was a very fruitful trip.
It was a very productive trip. It was like a 5-day official visit to Beijing and Shanghai, the first Panamanian president to visit China, and we signed 19 agreements, and we're working already in the agreements to move forward and strengthen our relationship.
There are a lot of updates recently, right, about those agreements?
Yes, for sure. We are now the feasibility studies for the free trade agreement and also the feasibility studies to build a train between Panama and the border with Costa Rica and then follow the train to the rest of Central America in the future. So it's working well, and we're very happy with how President Xi Jinping, the Chinese government, the Chinese people received me and my delegation.
Of course, you interacted with Chinese President Xi Jinping a lot during your stay in Beijing.
It was a very good meeting, and a very nice event.
What did you guys say?
Well, we talk about everything, about the economy, about the politics, about the leadership, how the role that political leaders play in helping the people improve their quality of life.
How exactly, when it comes to your answer?
I admire the view of President Xi Jinping because it's how we have to focus all our strength and our assets to solve the problems that affect the people. Don't waste time fighting each other, but focus on that all the capacities of our governments, of our country, must be used just to solve the problems that affect our people. That's the view of President Xi Jinping. I share that view, and I admire him a lot because of that view.
It's about focus?
It's about solving problems, not creating new ones.
Why is the issue of one China important for the country of Panama?
We have a long relationship with China, and that has been my position for a long time. And now, once I went to Beijing and Shanghai in 2007, and I made my position public. Once I become President of Panama, I will recognize the One China policy, and I did it. I delivered my promise, and that was recognized by President Xi Jinping and by his government, and that's why they received me in an official visit with all my delegation, and that's why our relationship has started so strong.
And that's why your constituency also supported you so strongly
because
during your campaign.
It was the right thing to do. That was my platform, and it was the right thing to do, and we did it.
With China, the second largest economy, of course, there are a lot of things that can be done. But something even more important than just the number is the kinds of mechanisms that can be established, the ways of working that can be continued, and also the goals that can be shared. Mr. President, help us understand better about that between China and your country, Panama.
Our geographic position allows China to use Panama to expand their economic interest in the region and to be able to support our countries in developing their economies and their societies. So I feel that Panama, with the canal, with the airport, is going to play an important role, as today Singapore plays in Southeast Asia, as the Netherlands played in Europe in the trade with China. So Panama, with this canal, with the airport and the ports, is going to play a very important role in the expansion of the Chinese companies in the Latin America and the Caribbean region. And that's going to be very important for all of us.
Especially when there is Belt and Road Initiative brought up by China and likely to create partnership with everybody else.
That's a great vision, and we presented the first project, which is building the train between Panama and Costa Rica. So all the ships that are going back to China from the east coast of the United States can take cargo in the future, food and other products, to China on the way back, and also we can exchange a lot of best practices between our countries. So I think that Panama is going to be working very close with China in supporting that vision that in the planet there's enough resources so all humans can live a decent life.
Are you going to check on those trains and those routes?
We're going to be using Chinese technology, and the project is going to be supported by with Chinese financing.
What kind of time frame are we looking at?
I will say the feasibility studies are going to start this year. We're going to be ready next year, and that will be presented to our country. And I hope that construction can start by 2022-23.
Right. There are different understandings about China's way and goal of promoting the Belt and Road Initiative. Some say probably China has a lot of ego. Others say, well, probably only China wants win-win for itself. What do you say, Mr. President?
It's connectivity. The Chinese economy, Chinese population is the second largest economy, the largest population, 1.2 billion people. So it's connectivity. Some countries have one resources, other countries have other resources. Just making sure that we connect the world so there are enough resources so every human can live a decent life. That's a great view, and we support it because of that.
Panama also plays an important role in Latin America. China and Latin America has been on this great way forward when it comes to cooperation. How do you see, Mr. President, the competition that is existing among Latin American countries when it comes to cooperating with China or other partners?
Well, I feel that more countries are going to move to recognize the One China policy from Latin America, especially Central America, in the near future. And also we expect that the forum that is taking place as we speak in Chile, the CELAC China Forum, is going to establish a platform of cooperation that we can work together with China as just one region. Like
what kind of platform are you looking at, Mr. President?
That we can define specific issues in different topics: economy, security, healthcare, education, agriculture, that we can work together as a region with China. So in the case of Panama, we're looking to be the gateway to China. So many raw materials or food can come from different Latin American countries to Panama and then be exported to China from Panama.
It's going to be very expensive. It's going to be expensive because it's coming a long way around.
No, because we have all the ships coming through the Panama Canal, and then we can process the food and give more extension to the time that the food can be used, and we can add value to many products of Latin America in Panama and then export it to China. And also in the same way, China can export its product to Latin America through Panama, through our canal, our ports, and the Colón Free Zone. That is like the arm, the commercial arm of China to Latin America.
Wonderful. Mr. President, you know, later this year, the first ever import expo is going to be held in China. During the past 40 years, reform opening up, the many export expo has been held. So this time is different direction. I hope Panama will play a role.
It will be we'll be present, and it will be a very interesting opportunity to be able to present our products. And also we expect the visit of President Xi Jinping to Panama this year, 2018.
Isn't that exciting?
He's coming to America twice, so we expect in one of that visits he can stop in Panama, see our canal, see our country, our people, and learn and also see with us how the Chinese came to Panama more than 160 years ago to build the first railroad in Panama between the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean, and now how the Chinese are coming back to Panama to build this railroad that is going to be a great news for Panama and the region of Central America.
This is going to be a great reference, isn't
it?
Talking about Panama, we also want to ask you, Mr. President, how do you see, the overall changes of the world as a leader from a developing country? How do you see the kind of choices we need to make and the different roles and evolving roles of countries?
I feel that the future of politics is going to be about leaders and issues.
Okay, so explain, please.
Politics are going to be defined about the different issues. Colombia, the peace agreement; Mexico, the relationship with the United States; Brazil, the fight against corruption. So dependence on the different issues that are being debated now in the different countries, and the leaders that are playing an important role, that will be define the future of politics in the region. That's how I see it. Issues and leaders.
What about the issues that you are looking at when it comes to Panama, for a leadership like you?
Making sure that our economic growth gets to all the Panamanian people, that nobody's left behind.
What is the biggest challenge so far?
I will say security is a big challenge because of the increase of drug production in the region. Security is a big challenge, and also making sure that the economic growth gets to everybody in Panama. But improving the education system is very important. That's what we're doing. We're sending teachers. We're training the trainers, sending teachers to the United States, to Canada, to the UK to learn English as a second language.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be sending teachers to China too to learn Mandarin so we can teach our young kids that. So I think education is going to be very important, but also using the resources of a country to help the people of that country, because the people are the owner of the assets and the wealth of a country, and making sure that whoever is the president manage those resources to improve the quality of life of all the Panamanian citizens, regardless of their political vision or parties, is very important for me.
We are talking about a united front in a way, if we could establish it here at this year's World Economic Forum. It's about shared future in a fractured world. How do you see that fractured world? To Panama, what does those fractured world elements really present to you as challenges?
My point of view that the issues should unite the leaders. Climate change, security, the economy.
Well, it unites some leaders, not all of them.
Well, the ones that are not united behind the issues that care to everybody will be left behind, because leaders must be behind the issues and work together to solve them, because these key issues affect everybody.
Right.
Climate change, security, recession, that affects everybody. So natural disasters too. So I think we should be united to solve the problems that affect our people, no matter what country we belong to or no matter where we live.
But there are some popular beliefs suggesting my country first. What do you say? Well, it makes sense because people talk about national interest. But on the other hand, people wonder whether that is the way to go.
They will understand at some point that politics is about humankind first.
You're that idealistic, Mr. President.
That's the way we should be, to inspire people and to work for a better world.
Do you think that people these days are more skeptical than they used to be about politics? What can you do as a national leader?
People are participating more now with the social media. Sometimes they don't understand how to participate because they start like fighting each other or attacking each other, and they should be debating with everybody in what is the best solutions to the problems that affect the people. You have a point of view, I have a point of view, let's respect each other, and let's just debate and in a constructive way find the solution.
You ran a very active campaign, Mr. President. I remember that.
Yes.
And managed to get into the office with a lot of consensus. But whether be able to implement those consensus is a big question.
My campaign was about issues. It was not about attacking other political leaders. It was about presenting my country how I was going to solve the water problem, the security problem, improve education, the infrastructure, the transportation, and so that was my campaign.
The politics are getting short-term. People want to see results immediately. But Mr. President, as a policymaker, you know nothing can be achieved immediately, overnight.
The important thing is to be able to deliver the promises, to be able to, after 5 years, which is my term, to tell my people that I say this during my campaign and this is what I did during my 5-year term. That's the most important thing. I kept my word, the same I did when I went to China in 2007, and in 2017 I delivered my promise to recognize and support the One China policy.
Congratulations, Mr. President. The other thing people talk a lot is about free trade, globalization, vis-a-vis the free trade. How do you see the mechanism that we can use? Is it going to be bilateral? Is it going to be multilateral?
Well, it depends on the region. In our case, we're moving forward. Like in Central America, we had a free trade agreement with the European Union. But with China, Panama already sent a team of people that met in Beijing last week to start working on a free trade agreement with China.
Yes,
so in some
bilateral.
Yes, in some areas it's going to be bilateral, in some other areas like the European Union, because it was many countries, but I feel that with China, as we did it with South Korea and other countries, it's going to be bilateral. The United States, we did it bilateral too.
What is the most important for you when it comes to these bilateral agreements, the most important element you will look at?
That we can get a win-win situation.
Yes.
That a free trade agreement, everybody wins, and we exchange our ideas and we negotiate in a way that whatever we sign is the best for both countries.